Hi, y'all. You're listening to the Chicken Fried Women podcast with me, your host, Melissa Radke, the original recipe. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the very first podcast episode of Chicken Fried Women, the podcast. Friendship, kinship, and the stories that made us this way. My name is Melissa Radke, and I'm so glad that you're with us today, me and my co-host. You know what? If I had to be a co-host, like that would not be okay with me either. I would want to be the big shebang. I don't want to be the second chair. And my dog, Dr. Derek Shepherd, Radke, he don't want to be second chair either. I don't blame him. I'd want to be the host, not the co-host, the host. And he's mad about it. And that's why he's laying in the seat instead of sitting up. I don't blame him one bit. In fact, I kind of applaud him for that. If you're watching on video, you'll see him wandering around playing with toys. He's just my right-hand guy. Okay. The BFF forever. So he's going to be here. What we're here to do right now, today, in this very first episode, is to talk about the stories that made us this way. I have a book coming out called Chicken Fried Women, and I wrote this book. I had it in mind several years ago. It's probably the easiest book I will ever write because it just flowed right out of me. Women make up a huge part of my life, not just the women in my family, but I have several different girlfriend groups. And I don't know if you're anything like me, but you have like that group of girls you're close to that you went to college with. But then you also have that group of girls you're close with that you grew up in high school and elementary with. And then you have your group of girls that you've made as adult friendships, right? And so I have all of these different girl groups, and they are really profound and vital to who I am. And so when I had the idea of Chicken Fried Women, one of the reasons why I called it Chicken Fried, Chicken Fried Women. Why are we fried, Melissa? Women remind me a little bit of fried chicken. We're a little bit battered on the outside. We're a little bit hard in some places. We've been put in some hot oil. We've been put in some hot situations, but inside we're tender. Inside we're soft. Some of us are a little bit salty. Some of us are a little bit spicy. And it's women that reminded me so much of this chicken fried situation, right? And so that's why I came up with Chicken Fried Women. But friendship, kinship, the stories that made us this way. Well, my idea for the podcast was just that. What are the stories within your girl groups? What are the stories within your friendship groups, your BFFs? What happened on a girls' night out recently that y'all still talk about to this day? Y'all still laugh about the time that Marcy spilt the margarita down the front of the waiter's. I mean, whatever it is. What happened at your best friend's wedding when one of the groomsmen passed out? Like, what are those stories that you tell around a table? Let me give you an example. I think there's something wrong with the women in my family. I think we are abnormal, y'all. I think we are. I mean, we move as a pack. Like we all pile in the car and we drive 2 hours out of town to shop and at these plus size stores so everybody can get them something. And we eat Mexican food. And we do this a lot. Also, we pile in a car and we drive 10 minutes down the road to, you guessed it, shop for plus size clothing and eat Mexican food. We move in a pack. I'll give you an example. Is it normal? I mean, y'all email me and tell me, is it normal that all the women in my family went with me when I got a new bra at the age of 15? Is that normal? It doesn't feel normal to me. I feel like that might be something that just a mom and daughter do. When I was about 15 years old, my granny, God rest her soul, said, pull up your shirt and let me see what kind of bra you have on. Now that is an odd request in and of itself. And like some idiot, I did it. And I said, why? As I'm pulling my shirt, because it doesn't look like you're even wearing one. And I showed my granny the bra that I had on. And she said, go get in the car. I can't believe your mother would let you wear something like this. Go get in my car and I'm going to take you down to the dress shop and we're going to get you a good bra. Now, just so you know, okay, just so you know, the dress shop that she was referring to was about 20 minutes down the road, and it was run by a woman who sat in an oversized recliner in the dead center of the store. I believe the recliner had at one point been a light ivory color, but thanks to her penchant for Marlboro Reds, it was a dusty gray. She kept an ashtray on the arm of the recliner, and from her recliner, she barked out orders to a woman named Pauline who worked there. Paula, I can't remember. Anyway, Paula, I think. You would go into the dress shop and there would be those circular, right? Remember the circular racks that little kids could get up underneath and hide. And they would say, on one rack, it would say smalls to large. And on the other rack, there was just a sign that said more to love. Guess which rack every woman in my family shopped at, okay? But what she was known for, this woman, was helping you find a good bra. But unfortunately, you had to lift your shirt and let her fill you up first. I know that's not the kind of talk people are used to on podcasts today, but I'm telling y'all a true story. So my granny and I, in one car, drove to the dress shop. Behind us in another car was my mother, my Aunt Melba, and my cousin Meredith, who wanted to, and I quote, go and watch. So we get to the dress shop and I go in, and this is a memorable day for me because it was the day that I learned how to get fitted for a bra and that it was a heinous, scary, terrifying thing. And I walked in and my granny said, you're not going to believe the bra that she has on. And the old woman said, tell her to lift her shirt. So I lifted up my shirt and she said, my God, her boobs are huge. I was 15, America. I was 15. She yells to Paula across the room, Paula, I'm going to need some of them Playtex 48-hour double Ds over here. So Paula brings out every Playtex double D that they offer. One's white with 8 snaps. One's ivory with 6 snaps. You know what I'm saying. Then I'm ushered into a dressing room that the only curtain on it is a shower curtain. I'm ushered into a dressing room and I'm told by my mother, as you try them on, come out and let us see them, Melissa. And I said, why? Why do I have to? And I heard my mother turn around and whisper loudly to all the women in my family, bless her heart, she's built just like her daddy's people. Oh, and I was. That's what's sad. She wasn't wrong. And so I would walk out in these bras and the women in my family would just die laughing. And the owner of the dress shop would come over and just feel my boobs, y'all. She would just feel my boobs and she'd be like, it's spilling out of the top. It looks like it's a sourdough bread, just spilling out. And this was my first interaction with like getting a really good bra. I just don't think that's normal. And don't even get me started that this was like before Spanx were created. God help us. But y'all, at 15, I was having to wear like a body girdle when I would sing in church. And I'm going to tell you what, it was a bad day when that thing would come unsnapped at the crotch. One time my mom's came unsnapped at the crotch. My Aunt Melba had to go in a stall with my mom. And just like she was changing the oil on an 86 Caprice, she had to literally go up under my mother and root around up there and try to snap those things back while my mother squatted right over her head. These things happened in my family. And we all took care of it. We took care of each other. We would say, your nips are showing, must be cold outside because you're a titty bit nipply. I don't know why I still think that's funny. Hey, did you know that the Chicken Fried Women podcast is being brought to you by my new book, Chicken Fried Women, coming out April 22nd? I have a question for you. Have you pre-ordered it yet? Go to Amazon.com or wherever you buy books and order one for you and your bestie and your mom and your college roommate. You get what I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say, okay? We would do these things. We would snap each other's body girdles back. We would be honest about how we looked in clothes, And to this day, to this very day, the women in my family, I am 50 years old, everybody. 50 years old. And the women in my family will say, what kind of bra do you have on? That don't look good. I've been known to wear a bra with padding, a cami over it, and a dress shirt over that. And the women in my family to say, do you not have anything on? We can see your nipples. I now know that my nipples just are irregular and could probably cut glass if you wanted them to. I can't help that. That's how God made me. And I am built like my daddy's people. May they rest. They've already gone on. They carry a lot of weight around the middle. Anyway, that doesn't matter. None of that matters. What matters is these are the stories that make up my life. For better and sometimes for worse, these are the women that built me. Miranda Lambert sings a song called The House That Built Me, the house that made me who I am. These are the women, for better or for worse. They are the women who taught me, loved me, cracked me up, and humbled me a time or 10. They are the women who listened to me tell about my first kiss. They're the women that I came to when I got engaged. They're the women I took with me dress shopping for my wedding dress. They're the women who stood up beside me at my wedding. They're the women who waited outside in the waiting room when Remy Hope and Rocco Cooper were born. They are the women who have made up my whole world. They're young, they're old, they're from the north, they're from the south, they're from college, they're from elementary school, they're from church, they're from my bloodline. What about you? You have women that you know right now that you are thinking of. They are your group, they are your tribe, they are your people. And for better or worse, they've made you who you are. They are your chicken fried women. Battered on the outside, but tender and good on the inside. And they come with a little spice and they come with a little salt, and that just makes it even that much more enjoyable. The bra story, give me a break. That is one of a million stories that I could share with you. That don't even scratch the surface, okay? By the way, I would just like you to know that when I lifted up my shirt that day for my grandmother, the bra that I was wearing had been purchased for me by my mother at a garage sale. That's right. I would say probably 75, 77-year-old woman in our town had dropped dead at a country buffet. Okay? The bra she was wearing when she died, my mother bought a couple of weeks later at a yard sale. It was hanging up on the limb of a tree when my mother pulled up. You know how people have garage sales and they'll hang like, oh, there's some, go look at those clothes that are hanging over there on my front doorknob. Oh, there's some winter coats that I have hanging off of the garage door. Yeah, there were bras hanging up on the limb of a tree. My mother said, and I quote, they were hanging down so low, Melissa, on that tree, I knew they'd probably fit you. I remember a time on Christmas that I got a new bra, and my dad, he draped it around the Christmas tree for fun, just to be silly. It didn't go around the top of the tree, the narrower part. He was able to hang it low. He was able to hang it low around the tree, where it's a bit wider. We laughed and we took pictures. And then my neighbor came over to borrow something and we forgot that the bra was around the tree. So he came in and he stood there staring at it for a while. We completely forgot about it. We were busy getting him his sugar or flour or whatever it was, while my bra just hung there on the lowest portion of the tree. Made it almost the whole way around. That's not the point. The point is I was wearing a dead woman's bra. And as we wrap up this first episode, I feel like that's what y'all need to that's what you need to be still with and sit in for a minute. A woman died at a country buffet, and that's the first bra I ever owned. Okay? And that's why I am the way I am. You have stories too. You have stories of the women in your life, stories that when you tell them to this day, you still pee on yourself. Stories that you love to share about the women who made you and the women who loved you and the women who raised you and your best girlfriends. And if you have those stories, I want to hear them. I am not ready for a podcast that just has celebrities on it, that just has big famous authors and who are pushing a book and they have a movie coming out or whatever. I want to hear from our people. So email me, melissa@melissaradke.com, and say this. My girlfriend Shirley is the best storyteller you have ever heard, and something hilarious happened to her at her cousin's wedding, and nobody can tell it like Shirley can, and you got to contact Shirley. Here's her number. Melissa, you have got to talk to my Aunt Diane. You have got to talk to my Aunt Diane. She has got a story of something that happened to her and my mom when they were in the 7th grade, and girl, you have got to hear her tell it. Give me Aunt Diane's number. I want to hear from your people, and I want you to hear from mine. Friendship, kinship, and the women and their stories that made us this way. I have a feeling if you're listening today, then you, my friend, are a chicken fried woman. So welcome. Thanks so much for being here today, where we get to talk about our friendships and our kinships and the stories that made us this way. Till next time.